And in this segment of Beer to Whiskey, we're doing another one of those Big Jon and 5 pieces. And what we do is we get what is basically the Greenville, South Carolina beer expert here, Big Jon Richards. He picks a beer and we sit down and talk about it. And we're coming to you today from Barley's Tap Room in downtown Greenville. It's what we like to call beer headquarters. And they are on Washington Street, and they got a gazillion taps, and it's a great place to sit down and drink a beer, and the pizza's not too bad either.
Yeah, sure enough.
So, John, what are we drinking here?
Well, we're operating a little outside your wheelhouse today, Russ.
Way outside my wheelhouse, and I'm doing this for the creative process. I'm doing it for you.
Suffering for his art.
Yes, exactly.
So we're drinking Ballast Point Sculpin, which is going to be one of those really nationally known and nationally respected,
right.
Very classic IPAs. And this one operates very much on the fruit-forward side of IPA, the grapefruit, tangerine, kind of orange flavors and stuff, which is to say there's still a grapefruit IPA, or a grapefruit Sculpin, and there's a passion fruit Sculpin, and there's a watermelon Dorado, and there's all kinds of flavors that these IPAs are doing these days, right? But the very classic IPA tends back toward, at least the IPA as it's been defined by American styles, to that mixture of the piney, foresty, funky side of things and the fresh and bright grapefruit side of things, and the marriage of those two flavors to create something delicious. And this one's probably grapefruit forward, but it's got that balance to it too, where you really get the spruce and the pine and that almost Christmassy spice flavor that goes on in there, but a very clean but firm malty backbone there to balance things down. And more the idea has been towards balance, whereas say 5-6 years ago it was what's the biggest and hoppiest and driest and most bitter thing you can brew,
level 4 and level 5.
Yep.
And,
these days it's tended a lot more back toward the balance and the sort of respectable alcohol levels. You know, at 7%, it's still going to get your attention.
Sure.
But it's not going to, knock you immediately to the floor like the 11 and 12%ers will. So, this isn't quite a session beer, but it's definitely a big, refreshing, full-bodied IPA that'll satisfy the hop head in you.
So, where is Ballast Point?
Ballast Point's out of San Diego, California.
Right.
They're one of the breweries that recently got bought up by one of the bigger alliances, the international alliances. Constellation Brands bought Ballast Point for, wait for it, $1 billion.
I'm not surprised. Ballast Point, I only asked John where it was so we would have something to talk about. Ballast Point makes one of my favorite beers, which is Victory at Sea, which is a tremendous imperial stout.
Absolutely.
And it's one of my favorite beers. I love San Diego breweries, Belching Beaver being another one that I like a lot. So this is going to basically be a citrusy thing I'm going to be tasting.
This will be pretty
here.
citrusy, very much on that side. It's going to be that pithy sort of grapefruit flavor of the rind and the zest, and then it's going to finish with a little bright, I say bright, but it's more bready, like cereal-y again, kind of maltiness, but it just lingers with this grass and this sort of green, viney bitterness on the end that lingers with you. Those of us who are real hopheads love that lingering bitterness because it really leaves your palate ready for that next sip.
Right. And that's what it's all about, is that next sip.
Next sip. It's very important.
Well, I like beer, so I'm okay with this.
Right.
It's not, it wouldn't be, I'm a brown porter stout guy, but this is not bad. Particularly, I would think it would be better on a warm day and outside somewhere.
Not quite a lawnmower beer.
Right.
But definitely
a patio kind of
patio beer. Yeah. That's a great category for something like this. So that's why he's the big bucks guy.
Yeah, I'm really raking it in. Now, this is, I think this was a good choice. I like this.
Good. It's like I said, that balance of bitterness and sweetness that creates something that is very drinkable.
Right. And how did IPAs originate? What was that? Where'd that come from?
There's like everything in history, some amount of dispute, but it's pretty clear that they were the beers that originally shipped from England to India, and particularly with the colonists over there, England shipped quite a bit of beer to their folks, and this beer became popular. And the common story is that they had to hop it up to make it survive the journey, but that's not entirely true. Because they were shipping 3% table beer over there at the same time, and it was surviving just fine. I think that the beer got over there is this big, bitter, aggressive, flavored beer, and tasted delicious with Indian food, and everyone fell in love with it. When they got back to homeland, they started asking for it and wanted to have beer that was spicy and would pair well with Indian food again, and this was born.
Ah, see, I didn't know. You learned something.
That's right.
Good. Anything else?
Well, we covered a lot of it. I'm sure I'll find some more blurbs to talk about in our next 5 minutes.
No doubt. Well, thanks for joining us on this segment of Big Jon and 5. We're coming from the beer headquarters of Greenville, South Carolina, Barley's Tap Room, and we'll see you next time around. Cheers.
Cheers.